Pow! I'm in the building. It is your boy Truth It. Truth It in the AM, Mr. 5 o'clock Shadow. Here to address any and all things when it's time to, and it's time to. Thank you to Worcester Daily News and the Morning Brief. Shout out to them. Shout outs to blogtalkradio.com. And shout outs to everybody who helps make Truth It in the AM possible. Let's just get right into what we need to get into. First off, let me just say that feeling good today. Feeling like I'm ready to go. We're going to be talking about HIV and the fact that California has made it so that if you knowingly, let me repeat the key word there is knowingly, infect someone with the HIV virus, you get no jail time. I repeat, if you infect someone with the HIV virus, you get no jail time. No jail time for you. You have nothing to worry about. As crazy as that sounds, that's not the only crazy thing we need to talk about today. Mike Ditka, he says that there has been no oppression in the past 100 years. I'll repeat. He said there has been no oppression in the past 100 years. That's insane. Also, what we're going to be talking about today is a football player, a college football player who kneeled for the singing of the national anthem during a football game, and he was cut from the team. And in my opinion, he should not have kneeled. I said it. He should not have kneeled. He should have thought about doing something else, and we'll talk about why. We'll talk about why he should not have kneeled in the first place. So, yeah, I'm feeling hyped and charged today. Feel like ready to do the show. Remember, also you have Trooper Joe's show. Trooper Joe will be here tomorrow on Truth in the AM, and let's just get right into the thing. You have a new law in California that has downgraded knowingly infecting someone with HIV from a felony to a misdemeanor, which means HIV patients in California who expose others to the disease will no longer face felony charges. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I could not believe it when I first heard this story. I thought the story was something that was made up. I don't understand why you would not be charged as a felony for knowingly infecting someone with the HIV virus. I don't know the thought process behind it. I don't understand the thought process behind it. So we're just going to talk about it right now. California's Governor Jerry Brown, who's an idiot, on Friday signed a law that lowers the penalty for exposing partners to HIV from a felony to a misdemeanor, which includes those who donate blood without informing the center about their HIV status. In other words, if you go to donate blood, for example, there was a lot of people who needed blood in Harvey, a lot of people who were without power, who lost a lot of things, a lot of people who were hurt in the earthquake in Mexico, and, you know, the Red Cross, they accept blood donations. You can have the HIV virus and possibly spread the HIV virus to other people, and all you have to worry about is a misdemeanor. Unbelievable. I still don't understand why anyone would sign that into law, but it was signed into law. Today, California took a major step towards treating HIV as a public health issue instead of treating people living with HIV as criminals. Senator Scott Wiener, San Francisco said. Sir Scott Wiener, I must say that you are also one person that I would not speak kindly of for doing this. This is one of the most biggest mistakes I think a person can make. Talk about it in a second. Exposing a person to HIV was treated more seriously under California law than infecting someone with any other communicable disease, a policy some lawmakers said was a relic of the decades-old AIDS scare that unfairly punishes HIV-positive people based on outdated science. They called the HIV virus and the AIDS virus, they call it the AIDS disease, they call that outdated science. Under the old law, if a person who knows they are affected with HIV has unprotected sex without telling their partner they have the virus, they can be convicted of a felony and face years in jail and get years of jail time, as they should. Intentional transmission of any other communicable disease, even a potentially deadly condition like hepatitis, is a misdemeanor. These laws were passed at the height of HIV/AIDS epidemic, when there were enormous fear and ignorance and misinformation around HIV, Wiener said. It's time for California to lead and repeal these laws to send a clear signal that we are going to take a science-based approach to HIV, not a fear-based approach. Republican lawmaker Senator Joel Anderson reportedly voted against the bill. I'm of the mind that if you purposely inflict another with a disease that alters their lifestyle for the rest of their life, puts them on a regimen of medications to maintain any kind of normalcy, it should be a felony. Someone gets it. Someone understands the truth, and what he said was absolutely right. It's the whole thing. The whole sticking point to me is the purposely infecting someone with the HIV virus. That's the main sticking point to me. That's what I see above everything else, is the knowingly doing it, and then you can even do it with hate. Or you can do it with cruel intentions and evil intentions. And it's nothing. You get a slap on the wrist. So here's my thoughts about HIV parents. I keep saying parents, I mean patients. HIV patients won't be charged with felonies for knowingly infecting others with the virus, and it's one of the dumbest law changes to date. So let me get this straight. Because other STDs like hepatitis are misdemeanors, you want to downgrade people who knowingly infect others with HIV from a felony to a misdemeanor as well? How about upgrading knowingly infecting someone with any STD as a felony? Any STD you knowingly give. I'm knowingly going to pass a disease to someone, and it should not be a felony because others aren't a felony? No, if I knowingly pass a disease, keyword disease, if I knowingly pass a disease on someone, it should be a felony. Now Charlie Sheen can go on and have unprotected sex with whomever he'd like, and most he get for infecting someone is a slap on the wrist. The absurd thing about this is you could possibly get a harsher sentence for driving without a license. Thank you. Could for giving someone a disease that there's no cure for. That's what I'm saying. They're treating giving someone a disease that there's no known cure for on the same level of driving with a suspended license. And Democrat Scott Wiener has the nerve to say, today California took a major step towards treating HIV as a public health issue instead of treating people living with HIV as criminals. What a dumb thing to say, Mr. Wiener. You're not treating people with HIV as criminals. You're treating people with HIV who purposely infect others with the virus as criminals. There's a huge difference. But I'm not surprised at all. I'm not surprised. Even though you have great people in California, and there's the majority of people in California are good people, and there's a lot of people in California, there are small cultures and small parts of California that are known for partaking in some things like orgies, sexual misconduct, hello Harvey Weinstein, and all-out rape. Hello Ben Affleck. Why not allow allegedly? Why not allow transmitted viruses to get transferred with little to no repercussions? That's the question. I wonder if next, to treat it like a public health issue and not treating it like a criminal act, will they give out speeding tickets for transmitting the disease? Nope, you infected that young lady. Here's your ticket, $15. This seems like where we're headed. Republican Joel Anderson was the one with common sense on the issue. I'm of the mind that if you purposely inflict another with a disease that alters their lifestyle the rest of their life, puts them on a regimen of medications to maintain any kind of normalcy, it should be a felony, Anderson said, according to the paper. And he's absolutely right. Is the HIV virus the death sentence that it was years ago? No, it is not. I agree. It's not the death sentence that it was. You still can live a life infected with the HIV virus. However, that still doesn't mean that it doesn't change the victim's life forever and makes them have to go through serious, unwanted changes. It's unacceptable that someone would want to infect another person anyway. Even worse, if you found out that the person did it with ill intentions. And this is the reason why I'm all for protected sex. You don't want to be a victim of someone else trying to purposely transmit a disease to you? It's obvious the senator of California isn't going to be looking out for you. The mayor isn't going to be looking out for you. The governor is not going to be looking out for you. I strongly suggest you look out for yourself and wear a condom. That's the only thing that I can see that will end up helping people. Because at the end of the day, you have to look out for yourself when no one else will. That's the sad part about it, and that's the honest to God truth. You will not be cared about by others when you catch the disease, when someone else gives you the disease. And I've seen stories of women who got the disease from a boyfriend and became scorned and ended up giving it to as many men as she possibly could. I've seen stories like that. And those were in the 90s when the disease was really a death sentence. So we have to do better, people. We have to learn to wear our condoms. We have to learn to protect ourselves because no one's going to protect us no one's going to protect us but us. Next story, this comes from the NFL, of course. Former Bears player and coach Mike Ditka has sparked a backlash after saying he is not aware of any oppression of black people in the past 100 years. He did. He said it. Look, I didn't say it. He said it. You have to laugh at him. As more NFL players protest police brutality by taking a knee during the national anthem, the Chicago legend said the idea of oppression has suddenly become a big deal now. There's been no oppression in the last 100 years that I know of, he said on Westwood One's pregame show Monday night. Now, maybe I'm not watching it as careful as other people. Duh. Addressing the protests, Specifically, Ditka added, is that the stage for this? If you want to protest or whatever you want to protest, you have the right to do that. But I think if you're a professional athlete, you have an obligation to the game. I think you have to respect the game. I don't see a lot of respect for the game. I see respect for their own individual opinions. Opinions are like noses. We all have one. Some are good, some are bad, he added. Opinions are like noses. In this case, Ditka's opinion was neither good nor bad. It was just wrong. In the early part of the last century featured Jim Crow laws that enforced racial segregation and remained in place until the civil rights era of the 1950s and 1960s. Black students educated in substandard, racially segregated schools until finally allowed to attend elite colleges, albeit under protection from federal troops. Hundreds of blacks were lynched between 1917 and 1964. Miscegenation laws prevented blacks from marrying whomever they choose. Today's statistics show that police are much more likely to stop the black people than white people, which leads to more shootings, the central issue that has motivated the Take a Knee protests. Unsurprisingly, Ditka's comments prompted criticism, with a number of people pointing out instances of oppressions endured by African American communities in the U.S. over the past century, and that is also what your boy Truth will be doing today. A lot of people on Twitter and a lot of people on Facebook spoke out against him. One person said, no oppression for over 100 years, Ditka. My mom was born in 1949 and lived through the Jim Crow South. She is 68. Can you count? Another, Price Thomas, added, if you're mad at Ditka, I'm confused why you're surprised that an old white dude is an out-of-touch racist. Someone quoted Malcolm X. If you stick a knife in my back 9 inches and you pull it out 6 inches, that is not progress. If you pull it all the way out, that's not progress. The progress comes from healing the wound that the blow made. They haven't begun to pull the knife out. They won't even admit the knife is there. Wow. Just wow. Applaud that. Gotta love that Malcolm X quote. Old school quote from the one, the only Malcolm X. It's not the first time Ditka has been critical of NFL kneeling protests, though he did say he would bench players for opting to join peaceful protests, which have also been criticized by President Donald Trump and most recently by Vice President Mike Pence, who walked out of the game this weekend after players knelt. Ditka really just lost his mind on this one. So Mike Ditka says there's been no oppression in the past 100 years. Oh, Mike. Oh, Michael. Oh, Mikey Mike. Oh, Mike and Ike. First thing we should do is look up the definition of oppression, because this might be the problem. Hopefully this is what the problem is, that people who saying there's no oppression don't know what the definition of oppression is. And maybe if we get the definition, then we can go from there, we can move on from there and see what exactly is oppressing people today. So the first thing we should do is look up the definition of oppression. And the textbook definition is an unjust or cruel exercise of authority or power. The second definition in the Merriam-Webster dictionary is a sense of being weighed down in body or mind. With that being said, you can't think of any oppression in the past 100 years? No unjust or cruel exercise of power since 1917, my man? None? What about the destruction of Black Wall Street by a mob of white men who was assisted by the police? Over 200 black people lost their lives, which shows the largest mass shooting in modern history was not Las Vegas. Black people were not able to use the same bathrooms, eat at the same restaurants, and even had to sit in the balcony during plays. They were not good enough people to even sit next to white people. Blacks in the army were put in the front lines. Imagine being first in line to get killed in battle and then to return home, not even to be allowed to eat in non-colored friendly establishments. Then you said yourself, blacks should go and vote if they want to protest and be heard. Well, it wasn't until 1965, which is much less than 100 years ago, where they were even allowed to vote. So black people didn't even get to have a say in what goes on in this country until 52 years ago. I have parents, both of my parents lived through every bit of that. And even to this day, there's places in the South that aren't even colored friendly. A friend of mine told me that he's a truck driver, he's white. He went down south, to deliver, a truckload of things, part of his job. And he met with another truck driver down there who was really cool, and he was a black man. And he said, hey, we're cool, I like you, let me take you out to dinner. The black man said, okay, cool, where are we going to go? He said, I looked up this restaurant that looked real interesting to me, and it's in this location. The black person immediately said, nah, I can't go there. That place is not colored friendly. This was in the year 2015. 2 years ago, my friend told me this story. So please, don't be so insulting to black people to say that there hasn't been oppression in the past 100 years. Hell, there's oppression now. It's a college football player was cut from his team for taking a knee during the national anthem before the start of the game, according to a report. So a person can't even exercise his constitutional rights of free speech. A black person can't even protest peacefully without having his dream taken away from him. And you say there's no oppression? There's nothing keeping black people oppressed? The intolerance of black existence in this country is still very troubling. We scream, y'all get mad. We protest silently, y'all get mad. Seems like we can't do anything without y'all getting mad. So I suggest you try again to take a look at the definition of oppression. And I'll give it to you again. I'll give you the definition of oppression again. So you don't lose it. The Merriam-Webster definition of oppression is an unjust or cruel exercise of authority or power. An unjust or cruel exercise of authority or power. Please look at the definition and think before you speak, people. You'll look like less of an idiot than you do after you made such an egregious statement. That's all I have to say about that story. In the next story that I have, in the final story of the day, college football player cut from team for kneeling. And you know what? Maybe he should have been cut from the team. I'm still kind of about it. A college football player was cut from his team for taking a knee during the national anthem before the start of a game, according to a report. At some point in life, there's going to be a time when you have to take a stand, said Guy Durante, a sophomore at Division III Albright College in Pennsylvania, who kneeled for the second time, or the second game in a row on Saturday. For me, it just happened to be on Saturday afternoon. Durante And I was just taught, if you fight for what you believe in and don't bow to anyone, I believe heavily in this, so I decided to fight for it. A spokeswoman for the college said in a statement that NBC 10 to NBC 10 that Durante was cut for going against a team-wide decision to kneel during the coin toss and stand during the national anthem before kickoff of the game. This action, which was supported by the coaching staff, was created as an expression of team unity and out of the mutual respect team members have for one another and the value they place on their differences. The spokeswoman said it was established as a way to find common ground in a world with many different views. One football player, unbeknownst to the coach and the team, chose not to support team unity and has been dismissed from the team, the spokeswoman said. He remains a valued member of Albright College student body. If he was a valued member of Albright student body, why did he get cut from the team? He could have been suspended for a game. He could have gotten in trouble. He didn't have to get kicked off the team since he's so valuable. A former teammate of Durante's, Josh Powell, told the news outlet that Durante broke a bond between teammates. We trusted him throughout the week. After time and time again, he told us he would stand, Powell said. When you can't have a player on the team that you can trust, he's got to go. The act of NFL players taking a knee during the national anthem out of a form of protest against racism and social injustice has sparked national debate. President Trump publicly condemned the act, calling the kneeling of the national anthem disrespectful to the country. NFL owners are soon expected to discuss requiring players to stand during the national anthem. In an internal memo leaked Tuesday, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell said, like many of our fans, we believe that everyone should stand for the national anthem, noting it is an important moment in our game. So, my thoughts are, I'm kind of on the fence about this one. Let me be clear. The only issue isn't about taking a knee. I think the issue is, in this case, if you're going to stand up for your rights, you should have let your team know in the locker room as well. Something seems kind of sneaky to me. Agreeing to only kneel during the coin toss. But then when it's time for the anthem, you go out and kneel as well. You make your team look stupid, and it can turn a noble act into a selfish act. And let me be crystal clear about the kneeling, though. It is a form of free speech. It is a way to protest peacefully. And I think it's equally as cowardice, if not more, to take a knee during a coin toss. You're not protesting coins. You're protesting how things in this country are. You're protesting the fact that the things in about the flag and the things that the flag stands for doesn't necessarily represent all people, especially black people. So to come to the conclusion, which is what most NFL teams are thinking about doing, is pointless, spineless, and insulting to those who are truly taking a stand for our freedoms that we are afforded. However, if I'm one of them people that are going to kneel while the rest of the team is going to stand during the national anthem, I have a duty to my team to let them know my intentions before going out there. If they want to cut me behind the scenes for standing up for what I believe in, then fine, the beef will be on. But don't be a yes man in the locker room. Oh yes, we used to go on to kneel during the coin toss and then stand during the national anthem. Behind the scenes, don't be like that. And then try to come out afterwards. And then, oh no, I'm kneeling for this national anthem now. What are you going to do about it? In the words of former WWE wrestler Carlito, that's not cool. No, be upfront, be honest, and stand with your convictions. Never throw a rock without showing your hand. If you bout it like that, be bout it like that 100%. Stand up for what you believe in. So, did I think it was right for this guy to get cut from the team? No. Do I think it would have been right for them to punish him? Yes. Maybe suspend him for a game or two? Yes. Because his intentions were right, but he went about his intentions the wrong way. He should have let his team know, listen, I understand and I respect that we voted for this. I understand and respect that we voted to kneel during the coin toss and stand during the national anthem. But me personally, I am going to take a knee. This is bigger than the team. And I have to fight for my rights. And he should have said that in the locker room to his coaches, to his teammates, that he was going against the team then. Not wait to do it at the last minute and make everyone look stupid. Well, that's all I got for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the show as much as I enjoyed bringing it to you. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Trooper Joe will be in the building, so Truth in the AM will be with the co-host with the most, Trooper Joe. The man with the power, too sweet to be sour. This has been your boy Truth It.